Welcome to this Windows Computer and Technology channel. And a couple of you have been asking me something that is interesting. And I wanted to talk just a little bit about Apple also at the same time. So, of course, it's Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference. And they've been introducing a few things. And two things I want to talk about here. First of all, a couple of you have been asking me, how come Apple gets all the hype and they talk about it everywhere? And if you've noticed, Microsoft had its own build conference, and look at how little it had in press and the standard news. I'm not talking about the tech, all the tech websites out there talk about all of what's happening with all of these companies. But to look at the standard regular news that everybody watches, notice how Microsoft didn't really make a dent, or nobody was really talking about it, when in reality, now Apple is making the news everywhere. And you know what? That is the power of Apple. That is the power of what Steve Jobs was able to create. A company that every time something happens, there's a hype around it. It's been amazingly good at creating that, and it stayed. And for a lot of people, Apple products are superior than standard Windows PCs, and it just don't realize a lot of other things around it. But we're not talking about that here. We're talking about how that hype just is there. And yep, definitely, it's they're talking about the stuff, even though the last few conferences that Apple gave are just boring. There's nothing really that exciting in this time. Also, that what made the news is that $3,000 headset for augmented virtual reality. And what pretty much everybody says is, why? Because everybody's trying it. I mean, Microsoft was one of the first to release a virtual reality headset. I mean, HoloLens was there, and now Apple's doing it, and Apple gets like tons of credit for it. And at the same time, you're like, yeah, but you're not the first. I loved a joke that I saw about one of the new features of iOS and of Mac OS, where somebody said, "Woohoo! They're bringing live tiles to Mac OS," and it's like, yeah. We talk about how companies kind of, just look at each other and sometimes copy some feature. A lot of people have the impression that Microsoft steals a lot from Apple. Actually, it's pretty much the same each side. Apple has stolen so many ideas from Windows that, everybody does. And there's no one is stealing more than others. Actually, the majority of the stealing is done in the Linux world, where they look at stuff and they want to have it too. But apart from that, honestly, it's just funny to look at it. And Apple was able to create a hype that Microsoft doesn't have, and yet we have to endure. If you don't like Apple, I've had Apple products in the past. I've had a MacBook Pro. I've had iPhones. But it's long gone, and I don't have any desire to get any Apple product. It's not something I want because it doesn't suit my personal needs. It's not they're bad products or anything. It's just it doesn't suit my needs personally. I would be very sad to have just a Mac because there are too many things I wouldn't be able to do like I want. It's like all the Linux people out there saying, yeah, Linux is great and it's going to take over. No, there's too many things you can't do. And, when somebody says, well, you can run Windows apps in Linux, then what's the point of getting Linux? You're not even capable of explaining to me why Linux is better in any way, because it's not. So, it's the same thing. And, it's people are in their hardware. People love their, whatever they have. We know that in general, Mac people will pretty much always stay Mac, Apple Mac. And And most Windows enthusiasts stay Windows. And it's like that. There's not a lot of transition going from one to the other. There's a little bit, but honestly, there's not a lot. And it's like Linux fanboys are Linux fanboys forever. The migration between all of them isn't going, isn't there. People are not flocking off Windows for any reason. Like people are not going away from Apple. Yeah. But yeah, the hype is there, and that's the way it is. As for the virtual reality headset, we'll see what they can do. But honestly, when you look at everybody flopped with their own virtual reality, including Amazon. I can't really see Apple doing much better unless they come out with some really fantastic idea of using it. One of the remarks I've heard, which is interesting, is it looks like a ski mask. If you've seen it, it kind of looks like a ski mask. And nobody was wearing it at the demonstrations. And as they were showing, is that probably nobody was wearing it because nobody wanted to wear one, because everybody looks dorky with those. And it's the same with every other headset that ever came through. So, that's the way it is. And, companies can create hype. Companies can create all sorts of things that are related to their products. Apple is particularly good at, having everybody excited about even nothing happening, which Microsoft, unfortunately, has not been able to create. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe, give us thumbs up. Thank you for watching.